Welcome to FFRF's weekly Ask an Atheist program. I'm Annie Laurie Gaylor.
Hola, and I'm Dan Barker. Annie Laurie and I are executive directors of the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Today, we're going to talk about the 2021 Secular Day of the Dead celebration, El Día Secular de los Muertos, which is coming up on Tuesday, November 2nd.
And hey, that's my birthday.
It is. We'll have two celebrations on one day.
We're going to give you a sneak preview of the online celebration, and we're delighted to have the event organizers with us today, Margaret Downey, President of the Free Thought Society, and Victoria de la Torre, a board member of the Free Thought Society.
And during today's show, if you're watching us live, you have a chance to ask questions or make comments via Facebook in the comments, or you can send an email to askanatheist@ffrf.org. So, Margaret and Victoria, welcome to Ask an Atheist.
Hola.
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 Good to see you again. So we had you on last year for, what was that, the second? Or what is it this year, the third one?
No. This is the second this year. It will be the second one we present online. But we've been doing Secular Day of the Dead since 2015.
Oh, so this is like number 6 or 7 then, okay. So I remember the one from last year because we participated. So why? What is the Day of the Dead, and why have a secular Day of the Dead?
Well, Dan, I think this fills the needs for a lot of people. The secular Day of the Dead is really just a celebration about life, not just death. And I think for a lot of Hispanic communities, there are so many celebrations and traditions that unfortunately we feel as though we don't take part of sometimes because they're so religious and it's tied in so much with our culture. However, for the secular Day of the Dead, we've found a way to connect those important traditions to people who kind of need that in the Hispanic community.
So you live in San Diego area, is that right, Victoria?
Yes.
So you're involved with the Hispanic community still, with your family and in that whole area?
We are. I mean, it's been a little different now because of COVID, but we've still managed to stick together through tough times and take these traditions kind of to the next level. So,
Margaret, we have heard a little bit about why we want a secular Day of the Dead, but do you want to elaborate on how this event took place, how it got created in the first place?
Right. Well, I saw Victoria giving a speech in San Diego, and I was so impressed with her. She reminded me of my daughter. In fact, they look so much alike. And I approached her and I said, I would love to be your mentor if you would like to be a protege. And then Victoria said yes. So she came up and spent a weekend with me, and we decided that there was some need for the Hispanic community through her background and through my background. I was married to a Mexican man. I also have Hispanic family members. My mother's Puerto Rican. So together, we looked at the Day of the Dead and how beautiful it was, and we realized that, so many Hispanics have left religion. Where do they go? How do they celebrate without religion? Victoria, you pick up the story from there.
Well, then Margaret just kind of put our heads together, Margaret and I, and we realized that we could do this. We can really take it into our own hands and make a celebration out of it. I think there are a lot of people in my situation where I've had these traditions all of my life, and I want to take it, take it to the next step for the secular community, and then people in Margaret's position that want to kind of find themselves again through their background and really express that with other people and celebrate life. So we've been doing.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say we've been doing this since 2015, and I think the outcome has been great. We've had a lot of positive feedback from people telling us that this really fills that gap between the loss of religion and just finding traditions again. And this whole event is really about celebration, life and the legacies that we leave on for others.
So there's this assumption that Hispanics, Latinos, whatever you call them, are all Catholic or they're all religious, but that's not true, is it? There's a whole lot of atheists and agnostics and secular humanist Hispanics as well. Isn't that true?
That is true, Dan. Yes, the numbers are
30%.
Mm-hmm.
30% of Hispanics are non-religious, so
Wow.
they want to be heard as well, and they want a home. But this secular Day of the Dead is so beautiful that we want everyone to come, no matter what their background is. The first one we ever did, a woman came with dressed in her beautiful German heritage costume, and she talked about her grandmother and how much she loved her. And several people were there that were not Hispanic, but they loved being able to talk to like-minded individuals who use the same secular language, no religion involved, and it was an opportunity for them to sort of exonerate who they are and where they came from.
So you anticipated one of my questions. So this event is not just for those from Mexican heritage, is that right?
Right. Everybody is welcome. In fact, lighting candles is something that's very common in the Jewish faith. So we're hoping secular Jews will come and everybody in between. So
who's organizing this?
Well, we have a total of 8 secular groups. Victoria, tell Dan and Annie Laurie how many groups are involved in their names, please.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the Freedom from Religion Foundation for co-sponsoring and being involved again this year. We also, of course, have the Free Thought Society, the Hispanic American Freethinkers, American Atheist, Center for Inquiry, the Secular Student Alliance, Secular Coalition for America, as well as the Atheists United.
Wow.
So it's quite a coalition. And Margaret, briefly, what will take place during the program? It's Tuesday, November 2nd.
Right. It'll be happening right after everybody has cast their vote. Don't forget to vote on Tuesday, November 2nd. But at 3:45 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, we will host a pre-event social. Now that's 6:45 Eastern Daylight Time. So the pre-event social will include entertainment and chatting opportunities. And you're going to see some beautiful dancers, Margarita Reina and James Nunnally. And there will be a mini concert by John Davidson, who is a fabulous Hollywood legend and a musical stage star. And he lived in San Miguel, Mexico. So he speaks English and sings. He speaks Spanish and sings in Spanish. At 4 o'clock, the event formally starts, and every co-sponsor representative will welcome everyone to the event, and they'll light a candle to honor a secular saint of their choosing that's of significant historic value. And we have a lot of saints to pick from in our community. So after the welcoming, we're going to break into a Spanish room and a English room, and the participants can pick which one they feel most comfortable in. So as people break into these rooms, we're going to have beautiful music provided by cellist Rich Rodriguez. So this will bring us to our guest speakers, and comedian, monologuist, author, and actor Julia Sweeney will be interviewing actor John Huertas. He'll be talking about his journey away from religion to freedom of thought. And his title of the presentation is From Heartsick and Holy to Happy Heathen.
4 H's in a row. That's good.
Yeah, well, this will lead us to a 3 to 5 minute honoring ceremony presentations by people who have RSVP'd. Now, people can RSVP I don't know if I can get this in the camera view, but it is, you can send me an email. It's Secular Day of the Dead at ftsociety.org. And I'll put you on the reservation list so you can tell us about your loved one's legacy. So then after that concludes, anybody who is in the session can talk about whoever they want. We even encourage people to talk about their dead pets because they're family members too.
Wow. So Secular Day of the Dead at FT, like free thought, ftsociety.org, right? People can send.
Yeah. And I'll process your reservation.
So I want to ask, the original Mexican Day of the Dead, I think a lot of us have heard of that. We've seen celebrate. We saw it there at Olvera Street, remember, in Los Angeles. I think it has like religious connotations. So how do secular people who don't believe in ghosts, I mean, how are we making that connection to the Day of the Dead?
Well, the interesting thing, Dan, is that mourning and reliving the person's life and carrying on their legacy, that has no creed, that has no religion. So I think what we've done is we've taken those parts and just made it available not only to everybody, but showing people how we can keep that going in a secular way.
Wow.
So we do. Oh, go ahead.
We renamed a lot of things. So instead of an altar, we have our honoring table. And my honoring table, you can see, is behind me. I am going to do something very special at my session when I talk about the person that died that I love so much. And I'm going to be talking about my mother. I'm going to light this candle for her. This is Ana Justa Alacia. So I have something special to say about my mother. And so the candles are really an important part of this. I mentioned that a lot of secular heroes will be honored by our co-sponsors. For instance, David Tamayo is going to honor Hector Avalos.
That's nice.
And yes. Oh, by the way, Annie Laurie, I have this going on my table because I loved your mother so much. This is the candle I made for you last year. That's Annie Ann Gaylor. So Annie Laurie, I wanted you to know that she's going to hold a special place on my honoring table.
Oh, that's very nice. We have that candle on our piano, so at our home. So we do have a video, since we mentioned John Muertos. We have a video from his presentation last year to give people a little bit of flavor of what this is going to be like. And it was a very special event last year, I think in part because it was such a severe lockdown. It provided an opportunity to get together. And so this is the statement from actor John Muertos.
Now, I would like to personally welcome everyone to Dia de los Muertos Secular, or the Secular Day of the Dead. Now, being a non-theist and a humanist myself, this is by far my favorite day of celebration because, to me, Dia de los Muertos has always seemed like a pretty damn secular holiday. Traditionally, it's always been the way that we've ensured that our dead weren't insulted by sadness and by our mourning. And instead, it's always existed to celebrate the living lives of the dead. And we do that with great food, drinks, parties like the one we're having right now, everything that the dead enjoyed while they were alive. So Dia de los Muertos, just like me, has always recognized that death is a natural part of life. So if we celebrate their living lives, that is also for us to recognize that we have to live our best lives right now, today, while we're alive. Not that if we are good, that we will somehow be rewarded in a heaven. Our reward is here. It's now. It's knowing that I have always tried to do the right thing without having to check in with my imaginary friend. Knowing that when I die, that I have lived a life of goodness so that hopefully someone will celebrate me on a Dia de los Muertos in the future world. The future world where, I don't know, all humans embrace tolerance. They have an openness to others, and where we actually use science and critical thinking as a means of always discovering the truth. And celebrations like the ones we're having today, they excite me because it brings like-minded people like us together so that we can stay united in our goals to actively keep promoting a strict separation between political authority and religious authority. I'm talking about a real separation of church and state. We have an election coming up, and we all know how the political weaponization of evangelical belief has tainted the process and tainted politics. So, guys, make sure you vote if you haven't already, and stay vigilant in the fight. Also, today is a reminder that we don't need a reason of why we exist. We just need a reason to live. Reasons like, I don't know, free will, equality, love, solidarity, respect of human dignity. Those are all amazing reasons for living, but they're also the essential values of secularism, non-theism, and humanism. So be kind and be good, not for some kind of afterlife, but just because it feels pretty damn good to treat people like that in this life. Now I want to introduce you to the creators of today's event, Secular Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, Secular, Victoria de la Torre, and Margaret Downey. They would also like to welcome everyone and start off the formal program for you. Thank you for including me in your celebration, and have a great time.
So
That was great.
that was a lot of fun. And yes, of course, that was in the midst of the national election. And it will be a delight to have Julia Sweeney interviewing John Muertos on November 2nd. So, Victoria, could you explain the Day of the Dead symbols, Dia de los Muertos symbols?
Of course, that'd be great. Well, you can see my honoring table here. A lot of the symbols incorporate so many things that are just vibrant and really show a celebration of life. What's really important on the honoring table and different decorations around are these marigold flowers. So they are marigold, but we are going to be using the native term.
Oh, what was that?
Oh, cempasúchil. It's the native term for these marigold flowers. They're probably the most important thing on my honoring table, just because they bring so much vibrant life. And
We're breaking up here. Okay, go ahead.
Wow.
Okay. Besides the marigold flowers, of course, I have my candles, just like Margaret's. This year, I will be honoring Ruth Gator Ginsburg.
Yeah.
Another important thing is, of course, the skulls for Day of the Dead. I have these hand-painted ones that I got in Cozumel in Mexico. So we often decorate our honoring table with that. Skulls are so important. We also do sugar skulls for the children, made out of course, sugar. And in past years, Margaret and I have hosted this in California. We've actually done sugar skull paintings.
Huh.
And I think we have.
And they're masks, and we draw.
I'm sorry, we're getting a little bit of breakup. I think that Bruce, we have some photographs from that event. If you have those handy, perhaps some of those. There was a live event in 2015 when there wasn't a pandemic.
Is that Margaret and Victoria there?
So there's some of the photographs.
And that's a cake that I made celebrating Dia de los Muertos.
Looks yummy. And Margaret, can you explain, you started to talk a little bit about the table that you've set up and the importance of candles, but do you want to add a little bit more about that?
Well, of course, everyone knows that the candles are significant. I'm going to be honoring, during my welcome, Robert Green Ingersoll. So I'm looking forward to that. Robin Blumner will be honoring Flynn. We really miss him, and she's got some nice things to say. By the way, I make these candles upon request. So I need a good month in order to make a candle, but I think they turn out very well. This is Paul Kurtz. This is his candle. And so we like to have these interesting items on the honoring table. We also like to have photographs of our dead loved ones. This all brings a person back to life. And do you want to show the candle that you're going to light during your welcome?
Sure. I have, if the camera comes back, I have a Thomas Paine candle. And of course, we're very eager to recognize Thomas Paine, not just at this event, but Margaret, you're the president of the Thomas Paine Memorial Association. I'm on the board as secretary, and we're gearing up to have a true memorial to Thomas Paine, a beautiful statue done by Zenas Frudakis, we hope, in Washington, D.C. So this, I hope when I light that candle on November 2nd, that it will be the beginning of a very exciting campaign when we are hoping to have Representative Jamie Raskin introduce the resolution for that sometime this fall, we hope, to get that campaign going, and then we will be letting people know more about that.
And Annie, Laurie, and I will be lighting that during the November 2nd ceremony.
That's right, with great anticipation.
So
well,
Margaret,
the other thing that's on the table are the gifts that we intend to give away. We're having a little contest. We're selecting winners who have the best overall Secular Day of the Dead costume. We're awarding for the best Zoom setting, face painting, face mask, and hair adornment. And the winners will get things such as socks, and here's beautiful earrings that we are going to give away. Here's a scarf, a Secular Day of the Dead sugar skull scarf, and my table is lined with gifts for them to select which is best for them, including toys for dogs and cups to drink your coffee, and dish rags. I found a beautiful array of Secular Day of the Dead dish rags. And so please participate if you're coming to our event in one of these contests, because we like to give prizes.
I suppose the co-sponsors are not eligible, are we, to win one of those prizes?
Sorry.
Probably not. Well.
So, Margaret, the contests are what, for dressing up, for?
Yes, hair adornment, face painting, overall Zoom setting, a variety of things. Last year we had some beautiful awardees. I don't know if your technician has any pictures to show us, but we had Jennifer Vines. She won the face painting, and Memo, he was the overall winner of the costuming. And in fact, Victoria's mother, Consuelo, she won a prize too for her beautiful face painting.
Wow.
And then again, people can participate in honoring a loved one.
Yes.
So, and last year there was a lot of participation, as I recall.
Oh, yeah.
It was quite moving.
Last year was so international. We had people from all over the world, India, South America, Denmark. It was amazing. Oh, and Australia. So we know people are reaching out to find like-minded individuals to grieve with, to talk to about their dead loved ones. So this is what we consider building our community and uniting together with the basic fact that we live and we die.
So before we remind people how they can join for this November 2nd event, I want to tell a quick little story. When Annie, Laurie, and I are going to light our candle for Thomas Paine, we are going to play some introductory music, some trumpet guitar music to go in and out of it. And you may not know when you hear that music that's the Mexican song De Colores, which means the colors of nature. It's a secular song. Look at it here.
De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son los pajarillos que vienen de afuera.
So that's me on the piano, because that was part of a Christian recording that I did back in the 1970s with Manuel Bonilla. He took the secular song, which has nothing to do with religion, and he made a medley with a Christian song, which we will not be playing. But I think it shows how universal the whole idea of the beauty of nature and of life and of death, and no matter where you live on the planet, it is a beautiful world to live in.
I want to mention that we also have a performance by Abraham Steve Mackey, and my dear friend Christina Magdalenas Jones will be playing the piano when we play the credit slides for the event. And the event will conclude with Gary Stockdale singing our last song.
Wow. So November 2nd is, what, a couple of weeks away, but people should register now, right?
Oh, yes. We are very anxious to hear from people. You can visit the Free Thought Society website at ftsociety.org to get the link information and to register and to contact me to make a reservation. You can also see the past event on the Free Thought Society YouTube.
Well, very good. Well, we're looking forward to that. And November 2nd, Secular Day of the Dead, El Día Secular de los Muertos. So we have viewers who might have some questions. Let me see if I can bring up this event.
And you can make comments or questions on the Facebook page, or you can email askanatheist@ffrf.org.
Well, I don't see any questions. Lauren, are there any questions there? I guess I don't see any yet.
You have to refresh your iPad, Dan, I'm told.
All right, let me do this again.
While we're waiting, I do want to mention that people can contact Victoria and I for any type of podcasting that you'd like to do prior to the event. And also, please visit the Facebook page. We set up an event page on Facebook, and there's a lot of pictures about the prizes and examples of face painting. So that's a very good site for anyone who's interested to learn more. Visit the Secular Day of the Dead Facebook event page.
So Lauren came out and helped me find the questions on this device. There are some questions from viewers today. Katie York asked a question, and Katie says, unfortunately, I will be at work during this wonderful event. After the event, will you be posting the video on YouTube or somewhere?
Everything will be available, and like Margaret had mentioned before, you can actually see previous years as well. We have a great team set up this year, so we're going to be collecting all of the video, both in English and in Spanish. And that's another thing I wanted to mention. If viewers want to watch it later, or if they're going to join us for the live event, we have English and in Spanish. And certainly, if you're not able to make it for November 2nd, we'll see you next year, and you can catch the video on your own time.
Does that mean you're going to have it translated, or there's two separate channels going?
Well, what happens is that there's going to be subtitles. So everything that is spoken in Spanish, you can read in English. Everything in English, you can read in Spanish.
Wow.
That's
well, that's
great.
a trick. So there's just one room, basically. There's not two separate. Okay.
Well, there's one room initially, but then people break up into the rooms that they're most comfortable in, but everything is still translatable. They'll always get the closed captioning in both rooms.
So to follow up on her question, would they just Google YouTube Secular Day of the Dead 2021 to find this, or do they go to the Free Thought Society, Margaret, or how do they find the video of it if they have to miss it?
Yes, it is on the Free Thought Society YouTube channel.
Okay.
Okay, another question. This is from David Aaron. I like the idea of this secular celebration. I never knew Dia de los Muertos was religiously affiliated. I always thought it predated Mexican colonization. Is that true?
Yes, it does predate it, but just like so many other traditions and celebrations, you sometimes have the indigenous part of the holiday and then the colonizer, the Catholic or Christian or what have you, and then it comes together to make the traditions. And same thing that we see in, let's say, the winter solstice and Christmas, for example, where you have that blend. So what we've done, of course, we hold on to those indigenous roots that predate the Spanish. We have, as I mentioned, the native flowers, just different aspects. The skulls, before colonization, those used to represent the goddess of death. That's why we have those. But again, there's a way to celebrate it, without the religious aspect, and it's something we're very excited to do.
In Mexico, is it connected with Halloween in any way?
So you do have the 3 days of Halloween, and then All Saints Day, and then All Souls Day, which is the Day of the Dead for November 2nd.
So it's a big, long celebration, huh?
Yes.
I never did understand what All Saints Day was anyway.
Well, that's why we created these candles. We want to claim our own secular saints. So the secular saints that we would love other people to learn about are honored in some way during our welcome ceremony.
So I wasn't Catholic, but I understand that in the Catholic Church, every day of the year is named for a different saint. But on November 1st, it's all of the saints. It's the one day for all of them. And apparently their spirits are supposed to come back, and that's why we have this idea of hallowed evening and the ghosts. In any event, we don't have to play those games, do we? We can just...
Right.
So I think there might be one more question.
I think we're out of questions.
Oh.
Yeah, that's all the questions then.
So again, what's the deadline? Is there a cutoff for people to register for the Secular Day of the Dead?
Yes, the day of. If they want to log on while we're in session, they can catch up at any particular point that they have. But it is very helpful for us to know how many speakers we're going to have in advance. So if you want a reservation, we're giving 3 to 5 minutes for anyone who requests a spot. And we'd love for you to be prepared. Show us a picture of your dead loved one. You are bringing back this person to life by talking about the legacy they left behind. And also tell us maybe a little moral story associated with your dead loved one. People love that, they learn such and such from their abuela or their sister, or, this is important for all of us to hear and learn and grow with.
So again, how does one register?
Yes, send me an email if you want to get a reserved spot. Secular Day of the Dead at ftsociety.org. If you want to register, the link to register is at the website. You can find us on the Free Thought Society meetup page. That's the website page. You can send an email to us. Please spread the word. Invite your family, your friends, and your colleagues.
And we have a, excuse me, we have a, sorry.
Well, I was going to say, Victoria, that your name means victory in Spanish, doesn't it?
Yes.
I used to sing I used to sing hymns, Victoria en Cristo, but this is Victoria sin Cristo.
Yeah.
If I have my voice back, I just wanted to say we'll have a press release up at ffrf.org/news, and we have an events page, and it will be going up there too with links for how people can register.
Well, I guess if you're talking about the meaning of names in the Spanish culture, my name would be Margarita, and it means a really wonderful drink.
There you go. Well, you're a very wonderful person. Right. Well, thank you, Margaret Downey and Victoria de la Torre, for being with us today. It's been a real pleasure to have you explain this new Secular Day of the Dead that we're now celebrating as non-believers.
And thank you for joining us on FFRF's Ask an Atheist this week. And we do invite you to check out our other programs. And here's a look at what's on Free Thought Matters, our TV show this week. Harvard professor and best-selling author Steven Pinker And here he describes some of the most common biases that we all fall for.
Probably the most pervasive and most powerful is the my side bias. Namely, you endorse beliefs that are sacred values or bloody shirts or conventional wisdom in your own sect or coalition or religion or political party. And that, sure enough, gains you prestige within your clique. You're a warrior, you're a fighter for the cause, and you demonize the other side as stupid and evil.
So that's Steven Pinker talking about his new book, which is just came out a week ago, called Rationality. That's our TV show called Free Thought Matters, which you can watch on TV this Sunday morning around the country, or you can also watch it on YouTube. I think starting right now, is that right,
No,
Bruce?
it goes up on Thursdays.
It goes up on Thursdays on YouTube. So, and then of course, don't forget our radio show, Free Thought Radio, which comes out every Thursday as well. Thank you for watching FFRF's Ask an Atheist, and we'll see you next week.